it's a sunny day. We haven't seen sun around here in probably over 2 weeks. It's just been gray in northern Ohio. And the sun just kind of brings everybody's spirits up. Everybody's happy today. My wife's happy, I'm happy. Life is good. Not to be deceived though, it's still pretty cold out here. I don't think it's going to get above freezing today. You can kind of see my breath a little bit there. Well, come on in the man cave. It's warm in here. Lucky for these doors that are brown on the outside. It's very warm. It feels like a heater. It's so nice. And it warms it up in here real quick. Today I was looking at social media, and an old friend of mine had a post on there, and it was interesting because his family line of motorcyclists goes way back, and to his grandfather, his father, and some of his relatives. A lot of motorcyclists in that family, and it almost made me a little envious. You know, they all got some really nice Harleys, and they ride together. They love to ride together. But at any rate, as far as my family history goes with motorcycles, I'll talk about that for a little bit today. My dad, bless his heart, he's been gone for a couple years now. And he never was a motorcyclist. I don't think he ever actually drove a motorcycle himself. But he did take a ride on the back of my scooter once. Yeah, he seemed to enjoy that. We just took a little quick jaunt around the block, and that was enough for him. And as far as I know, any of my other relatives, my grandparents, none of them were bikers. None of them rode a motorcycle. My dad's brother rode a motorcycle for a little while. I think maybe 2 or 3 years he traveled around on a motorcycle, but then he got rid of it, and I don't think he's been on a motorcycle since. You know, I've been riding since I was a kid. I think my interest in motorcycles first came about from riding a bicycle, you know, just being on 2 wheels and having my hands on the handlebars and going as fast as I could. And that kind of perked my interest in riding because as far as my dad was concerned, he was a very religious man. He was very involved with the church. He was the Sunday school teacher. He was a deacon of the church. He was the choir director of the church. And we also cleaned the church on Saturdays. So he was never involved in sports or anything like that, and he never brought us boys up in that regard either. My dad never took us to any games. He never encouraged any kind of sports. But my dad was very, very strict, and he pushed us to work. You always had to work. You always had to work hard. If you weren't doing schoolwork, you were out in the yard doing work, either in the garden or mowing the grass or pulling weeds or something. And he was very strict about that. So, yeah, I didn't get much of the biker stuff from any biker stuff from my dad whatsoever. So where it came from, I don't know. It just kind of morphed that way that I ended up being one that just really engaged into the biker life and really, really love it. My other brother, the next younger brother than me, he's just a year or two younger than me. He's always been riding. I mean, we shared our mini bikes when we were kids, and then as we grew up, he always had a motorcycle too. And even to this day, he has a street bike. Now, he lives out in Southern California, and my brother's thing is a need for speed. He likes to go as fast as he can go. He'll get on these stretches out there where he'll go well over 100 miles an hour, and he claims that's just the most exhilarating thing. It puts him as close to flight as he can get. My concern is someday I don't want to see him go down at that speed. The nice thing about where he is, there's little traffic, so he can get away with that sometimes. I wouldn't say safely, but without getting in an accident. It still worries me though when he tells me these stories. He's 64 years old and he's going to go 125, 130 mile an hour on his bike, and that's just cruising speed for him. And I have four brothers. So him, and then I have three other brothers. Now the next one is a doctor, and he rode the mini bikes when we were kids. In fact, he still has one that he bought that was identical to the one we had when we were kids. Keeps it parked in his garage, but he's not a biker. And I don't think he ever was into motorcycles at all. Then the next brother under him did ride a little bit, had a motorcycle for a while, back when he was in college and stuff, I believe. But then after he got married, that was the end of his motorcycle riding days. My youngest brother, who lives, I'd say the closest to me than any of them, he probably lives about 40 minutes away from me. Completely into the dirt bike scene, so he's got a number of dirt bikes and what he calls pit bikes. He has a collection of those too. And he and his kids love to ride these dirt bikes. He's got a dirt bike track in his backyard with the jumps and everything. And they'll go back there on a Sunday afternoon and they'll just go around and around practicing. He also likes to ride his dirt bikes in the sand dunes. So he's got one of his bikes. He's actually got a paddle tire on the back, that has the big paddles on it that just can really dig into the sand and go. So that's his sport. That, and he also likes the quads or the side by sides. I think he has he used to have a Razor, but he traded that in now, and I can't remember what he has right now, but he's really into those. In fact, he had a Razor 1000 Turbo, a side-by-side. It was a two-seater. And I went to the dunes with him the one year, and boy, aside from riding my Harley, riding that Razor, that 1000 Turbo, that thing was fast. I'm telling you, it was fast. I was doing over 70 mile an hour on the sand dunes with that thing. And boy, was that fun. I mean, I was so exhilarated. You could go off the top of those dunes and just go sailing airborne and hope for a good landing. I mean, that comes with riding dirt bikes, knowing how to land something, knowing how to just give it the right amount of throttle as you're going off the lip so you land kind of on the back wheel or both wheels at the same time. If you don't, you're going to land on the front tire. Yeah. But anyway, there's my brothers. So, out of four brothers that I have, aside from me, two of them still ride motorcycles, and the other two, not so much. So yeah, my buddy, he's one of these guys that actually bought a house down in Florida, moved down to Florida where he can ride all year round. And I think he has another home a little more north at Tennessee or something like that, I think, where he travels back and forth. He moves out of Florida in the summer, moves up into Tennessee, and then in the winter he moves back down to Florida. But he rides like all year round. That's his thing. He has to be on the bike. In fact, I think he's so much into the motorcycling. He was actually president of a club chapter, and I think he still is. But I haven't spoken to him in, it had to be at least 2 years now since I've seen him. So, yeah. What's in your family? Do you have a family heritage of bikers? How far back does it go? Does your dad ride? Does your grandfather ride? None of mine did. Do I wish they did? I don't know. What would it be like riding with my dad? I suppose my dad could have taught me a few things. Everything I learned about motorcycling, I had to pick up on my own, literally, because my dad had no interest in motorcycles whatsoever. I told you when I was just a kid and all I had was a bicycle. These posters, or similar posters, used to hang on my bedroom wall when I was a kid. And I used to just lay there in bed and look at those posters and dream that, wow, someday I'm going to have me a Harley. And I made my dream come true. And I've been very happy with that choice because, boy, that's a fun, I don't know if you want to call it a sport, a hobby, a lifestyle. To me, it's an awesome adventure every time I get on that bike. So leave a comment down below and let me know what your family heritage is like as far as motorcycling goes. Does it run in the family, or are you like a lone wolf like me that has really taken to it? But yeah, if you haven't yet, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll be glad to have you on board. Thanks for the new subscribers. If you just got on, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And I'll keep you entertained throughout this next new year, the best that I can. Till next time, cats, ride hard and die free.